for its now enlarged customer base. Our integration strategy is centered on achieving operational efficiencies and cost optimization through initiatives such as network streamlining, procurement enhancements, and strengthening digital channels. One key focus is the planned decommissioning of 20 to 30% of overlapping network sites, which will deliver substantial cost savings and resource efficiencies. On the commercial front, strategic network expansions and enriched digital experiences will enable effective cross-selling while fostering stronger customer loyalty. These synergies are projected to generate pre-tax cost savings of $300 to $400 million upon completion of the integration, reaffirming the strong financial foundation and strategic rationale for this merger. With the combined strengths of two industry leaders, this partnership is poised to drive unparalleled growth and innovation in Indonesia's digital landscape. Axiata brings extensive regional expertise, leveraging operations across 9 Asian countries, while Sinar Mas contributes deep local market insights and a well-established business ecosystem. Together, we are unlocking transformative opportunities within the broader ecosystem of the joint controlling shareholders. These opportunities include potential integrations with companies such as LinkNet to expand home broadband services, Dana to enhance fintech cross-selling capabilities, and Moratel to deliver cutting-edge data center solutions. This collaboration positions us to create a truly connected and digitally empowered future. Indonesia's ARPU remains below of that regional peers. Now, this presents significant opportunities for growth and expansion. Meanwhile, ARPU in Indonesia has grown at a compound annual growth rate of 3.2% from 2013 to 2023, a trend we expect to continue. Through this merger, we are well positioned to drive ARPU growth, drawing on insights from previous market consolidations. This strategically positions XLSMART to capitalize on the rapidly expanding ICT market, with particular focus on high-growth sectors such as IoT, SaaS, and data center services, paving the way for sustained long-term success. The merger will also allow XLSMART to become more competitive to capture growth opportunities, such as increasing household broadband penetration, to match our regional peers, or in enterprise ICT, where we can help accelerate digital transformation across enterprises. As a quick recap, here are the 4 strategic rationales as to why this merger will benefit XLSMART. Firstly, greater scale and commercially stronger. Secondly, synergistic value and operational efficiencies. Thirdly, local partnership and strong ecosystem support from shareholders, as well as fourthly, financial resilience and improved returns. This strategic merger brings immense benefits to all stakeholders, to Indonesia, our shareholders, our customers, and last but not least, our employees, creating shared value while advancing the nation's digital ambitions. For Indonesia, this merger aligns with the government's digital goals by enhancing internet penetration and accelerating 5G deployment, making a significant contribution to the nation's digital transformation. It also fosters a more sustainable industry structure, optimizing resource allocation, particularly in spectrum efficiency. For our shareholders, the creation of a stronger telecom player positions us to compete more effectively within the industry. With a large customer base spanning mobile, fixed, and enterprise segments, we are well poised for robust growth and can unlock significant benefits from economies of scale. For our customers, by uniting our resources, we will deliver faster, more reliable internet services alongside an expanded portfolio of offerings. These innovations, including tailored solutions for MSMEs and enterprises, will drive economic growth and better serve our customers' evolving needs. For our employees, this merger brings exciting opportunities for career growth, offering new roles, enhanced development pathways, and exposure to best practices from both organizations, building a stronger, more dynamic workforce. Presented here is an outline of the anticipated timeline for the key milestones in this transaction. At this stage, we project the transaction to close within the first half of 2025, subject to obtaining the necessary regulatory and shareholder approvals. As we embark on this transformational journey, we invite you to join us in supporting this merger, which we firmly believe will drive greater connectivity and economic prosperity for Indonesia. Thank you for your unwavering trust and partnership. Together, we are building a digital champion that will serve as a cornerstone of Indonesia's future. Should you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We are more than happy to provide clarity and support. Now, with that, I end the presentation and pass it over to Chris.
Thank you, Pak Feiruz. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed to the Q&A session. As a reminder, the Q&A session will be a hybrid mode. To ask question, you may type it in the Q&A box. Please ensure to have the type in on your full name and company name. If you would like further clarification after your question is answered, kindly use the raise hand button and we will proceed to unmute your mic. Okay, we already have the first question. The first question comes from the line of Marisa Putri from UBS. It is about in the announcement, there is a mention about the 75 million of delayed payment after the satisfaction of certain condition. Any color on what are these conditions and what would happen if the conditions are not met? I would like to direct this to Pak Vivek and to answer the question.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the question. The conditions are, in our view, reasonable conditions for us to meet. But in addition, there's a provision for cinemas to waive those conditions. So I think details would be provided subsequently, but these conditions we think are reasonable to meet. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Pak Vivek. Let's move on to the next question. Next question comes from the line of Kevin Jonathan Panjaitan from Bahana Sekuritas. There are 4 questions. As you mentioned, after the combination, your EBITDA margin will be 49.4%. Does XL Smart expect the margin improvement in the near future? Could you share the target and how is the expected time to achieve that number? Second one, how many years does the XL Smart target to complete all the integration and achieve synergy value of 300 to 400 million? Third question, could you share more details on the synergy? Which area contribute the most to the synergy? Network footprint optimization, targeted network, or channel? And fourth, what if there are more than 10% dissenting shareholder? Will the rest is eligible for the buyback? For this one, I would like to pass to Pak Feiruz to answer the question.
Thank you, Kevin, for the question. 4 questions. I'll try to recall and answer them accordingly. I think the first one, the question was about guidance for the MergeCo or XL Smart. The numbers that we presented, EBITDA margin, that's a pro forma number of the last 12 months as of third quarter 2024. I think at this stage, we are unable to give the guidance for the MergeCo, but certainly upon legal day one, we're more than happy to provide the guidance for the MergeCo. On the second one, with regards to integration, again, what we've said is pre-tax synergy value, right, of 300 to 400 million. It's within the 3 to 5 years. I think the synergy, no full details yet because we haven't started. I think we will start, once we start the integration, we will be able to share. But some of the areas, obviously, right, you all know that from these synergies, some of the key would be including trying to optimize the highly complementary networks and infrastructure, Certainly, we will look at OPEX and lease savings by decommissioning duplicated sites, and evidently the efficient use of combined spectrum resources, right, and increased scale. And last but not least, the economies of scale, right, that we can get from this merger. Now, to question number 4, what are the more? What if there are more than 10% dissenting shareholders? Will the rest be eligible for the buyback? I think in accordance with the merger plan that has been announced to the IDX earlier today, I think by law, obviously, there's a 10% cap from EXCL for our dissenting shareholders. But should it go above the 10% threshold, then the principals, right, which is our shareholders, both Axiata and Senamas, will be taking on the funding the dissenting shareholders from an proportionate, equal 50-50 portion. I hope that answers the question, Kevin.
Thank you, Pak Feiruz. I would like now to open the line for Kevin if you have any more questions to follow up.
Hi, thank you. I think that's all. Thank you.
Sorry, Kevin, could you speak up? We couldn't hear you.
Yeah, I don't have further question. Thank you for the
Okay.
answer.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on to the next question from Piyush Chowdhury from HSBC. First question, could you talk about the governance framework and management structure of the enlarged entity? Second question about the strategy of the enlarged entity. How do you prioritize the ARPU repair, profitability, or priority will be the market share gain? And third, what is the number of network sites of combined entity? Would you maintain all these 3 brands post-merger, and strategy of brand positioning? And fifth question, would you able to retain all spectrum post-merger or need to retain some spectrum?
Maybe Piyush, I can take this question, Vivek here. The governance framework would be basically board of directors, or let me start with board of commissioners, which would be 9, 3 nominated by Axiata, 3 by Senamas, and 3 would be independent. Out of those 3, 1 would be independent, but proposed by Axiata, the other 1 from Senamas, and 1 would be joint. So that's the 9-member BOC, and then we will have a BOD, which will be a 10-member BOD with 4 from each side, and there'll be a joint appointment of BOD, 2 joint appointment of BOD. So that's the governance structure. In addition to that, we will have the statutory committees and also some of the additional committees in investment committee, procurement committee, and technology advisory committee. So those would be the additional committees which will be part of the governance structure. Strategy of the enlarged entity, I think our position has been more around the profitable growth. So I think the intention is not to really drive predominantly market share, but to look at capturing synergies as early as possible, ensuring that market stability, market repair efforts which have been currently planned out continue, and market looks much stronger as we go forward. So it's more focused around the profitable growth and not necessarily investing just to gain market share. So that's, I think, clearly. Number of sites, I think we have said 20 to 30% of the total combined sites would be around that person. I think currently combined is around 67,000 sites, so around 20 to 30% of the sites would be decommissioned post the integration is completed. We intend maintaining the 3 brands to start with. As I said, the priority would be really around network synergies, which is the largest chunk. So there's no change in any of the brand strategies post-merger. Eventually, the management of the merged company, in a consultation with the Board of Commissioners, will decide where and when that decision of the 3 brands needs to be changed. Brand positioning, I think at the moment it will be continue to focus on the segments where the 3 brands play. I think we will leave it more to the new management of the merged company to really look at what's going to be the future brand strategy and segments they want to play. We don't know about the last point. I think our view is, I mean, we will obviously consult the MOCHED for final decision on the spectrum. But our view is the spectrum basket across 3 operators is now pretty much similar. Second thing is, given that there is enough and more spectrum being available in future through the 5G auctions which will happen, we really don't see the need for the spectrum to be taken back by the government, because the value of the spectrum for anybody would be much lower, given that there is enough and more spectrum being made available in the subsequent 5G auctions we all expect. Having said that, I think we don't know. We will have to work with the regulator to figure out what would be the remedy required as far as the spectrum is concerned. I hope Piyush answers your questions.
Thank you, Vivek. I think we'd like to open the line for Piyush to have follow-up question. Piyush, go ahead, please.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, Piyush, we can hear you.
Yeah, hi. First of all, congratulations on completing this merger, subject to approvals. Few follow-up questions. Firstly, could you talk about the management of the new enlarged entity? And secondly, if there are remedies imposed on spectrum being taken back, would it any way impact the structure or the transaction?
No, so management, Piyush, I think we are going through the process of assessments to decide the management of the MergeCo, as well as the existing management's role in future after the merger. So I think we should be in a position to let markets know in the next 3 to 4 weeks what would be the management for the MergeCo. As far as spectrum is concerned, I think, I mean, based on the discussions and ultimate outcome of the remedies which are required, I think we'll have to look at it in the sense what is the impact on the overall synergies. At this point in time, very difficult to say, because they'll all depend on the discussion we will have with the regulator.
Got it. Thank you. And can I just check what is the employee strength of the combined entity on a pro forma basis?
Starting, I think we are around 1,600 in EXCL, around similar number, if I'm correct, is on the other side. So it's pretty much 3,200 would be strength. There's no intention of any rationalization. I think everybody is welcome into the new MergeCo, and I think we see, because given the 3 brands being there, and also there will be need for people to involve in integration activities, so we don't see immediate rationalization. Yes, in future, we will have to look at what's the right structure the MergeCo should have.
Thank you, Vivek, and all the best.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Piyush. Let's move on to the next question from Henry Teja from Mandiri Sekuritas. Henry has 2 questions. First one is about, can you share the customer profile between EXCL Axiata and Smartfren, and whether we will see a similar trend like what we saw when EXCL acquired Axis? And second one is any color on the spectrum retention, which already been answered by Vivek just now regarding the negotiation with the government. I think let's go ahead for the first question on the customer profile.
Maybe I can take that one on the customer profile. So as you know, in EXCL Axiata, we are a dual brand company where we have one of our brands, Axis, focused on youth, and the other of our brands, EXCL, focused on the white-collar families. So we still need to analyze properly the Smartfren positioning in the market. We believe that it's more towards white-collarish youth, urban people. But again, we need to fully analyze that and see which segment each of the brands is going to cover.
Thank you, Pak David. I'd like to open the line for Henry to ask follow-up question.
Hi. Yeah, thank you, Pak David. Perhaps just one follow-up question on that, Pak. I mean, if you look at all the Axis acquisition back in 2013 and 2014, I think we saw like a subscriber declines in the next 2 or 3 years after that. So just curious, what kind of initiatives that basically perhaps the management has set to basically prevent this kind of activity will happen in the future again. Thank you, Pak.
That's a good question. As Vivek was mentioning before, I think the new MergeCom management will have to put those activities in place. If I may, in any case, say, I think the overlap that you might be seeing between probably SmartFriend or Axis or EXCL, we don't see it being that big, to be honest. When we do our analysis on the dual SIMing, etc., we don't see that being a real threat. In any case, of course, there needs to be a lot of activities in order to make sure that we don't lose, or the new MergeCo doesn't lose any subscribers in the integration process. But even if you take a look today at the value propositions, product portfolio, I think there are significant differences between the three brands.
Thank you, Pak David, and thank you, Henry. Okay, let's move on to the next question. There is a question on the spectrum also, about any color on the spectrum retention and how is the negotiation with the government regarding the spectrum retention. This is also from Mandiri Sekuritas. I would like to pass it to Ibu Dian for her input.
So as mentioned by Vivek previously, actually for the spectrum, we actually today just submit the merger plan to MOCD, to the Ministry of Communication. So the negotiation has not been started. So after this, then we will actually conduct the discussion and negotiation with the government on the spectrum situation. However, we believe that with the current situation, with the combining spectrum, actually now it will give a better spectrum allocation in the industry, because the three player actually will have a balanced spectrum allocation. So is that answering the question?
Henry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that answered the question. Thank you, Bu Dian.
Thanks. Let's move on. We have the next question coming from Fong from CIMB. There are 3 questions. First one is, what is the expected dilution on XL earnings in the first and second year of the merger? Second one is, in terms of the balance sheet, what is the impact on XL post-consolidation of the SmartFriend? And thirdly, what is the breakdown of the synergies in terms of CapEx and OpEx saving? This one I would like to pass to Pak Feiruz to advise.
Yeah, thank you, Fung, for the questions. I think as I highlighted earlier, today marks only the signing of the definitive agreement. What we're able to give color is an anticipation of a pre-tax synergies, right, of an annual run rate of 300 to 400 million over the next couple of years. Unfortunately, we're not able to give an actual breakdown, but I have alluded earlier in terms of some of the components, right, that will come up of the synergies. Likewise, on the earnings as well as the balance sheet, I think those guidance we'll be able to provide later. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Feiruz. Let's open the line for Fong. Fong, please go ahead if you have any follow-up question.
Yeah, thanks for the call. Feiruz, just want to come back to the question on dilution. Yeah, as I know that you can't give exact number, but I look at the SmartFriend EBITDA is a positive EBITDA. I'm wondering whether they have written off a lot of their assets and therefore there's not much depreciation and interest costs beneath the EBITDA line to dilute EXCL's earnings?
Yeah, Fung, I think you may look at the numbers as published, right? They're also listed entities. You will see also the breakdown after the EBITDA line all the way to profits. To date, they have not done any accelerated depreciation. And the numbers, as I said, once a legal day one, the pro forma is disclosed in the IDX for the PICHCO. But from a guidance moving forward, we're not able to share at this moment in time. Maybe I'll pass over to Nick if you want to add anything.
Sure, Fung. This is Nick, Group CFO for Axiata. The only thing I would add is that for the first 1 and 2 years, there's also going to be integration costs with regards to the integrating of the two companies that will happen post legal day one. However, we are not in a position to disclose or divulge those information as it is, because we are still going through the process of doing the merger integration planning, etc. So all this will be hopefully, and we don't typically give forward guidance, but as and when we have more information to share, then we will be able to do so. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Feiruz and Nick. Just one more question. With this merger and the synergies with the wider Cinemas group of companies, are we considering any changes to the current LinkNet shareholding?
Sorry, current LinkNet. No, so Fung, I think at this point in time, there are two entities or associates owned by the merged company. One is LinkNet, which was still owned by EXCL Axiata, and 18% owned by of Morotel, owned by Smartfren. So those two companies will remain in the merged entity. The whole focus at this point in time has been around the mobile merger. So any decision on subsequent actions will be taken subsequently, but that's not something which has been discussed. At this stage, both these entities remain as part of the merged entity.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much, Vivek.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Fung. Thank you for Vivek. Let's move on to the next question from Kavi Ananta from BRI Dana Reksa Sekuritas. The first question about spectrum has already been answered by Budian. And then second one is about how is XL is expected to fund the 10% potential share buyback from dissenting shareholder. And then the third one is the CEO of XL Smart will be coming from which party? For the second question, I would like to ask Pak Feiruz to answer, and the third question will be from Vivek to answer. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the question. With regards to, if I understand the question was how it's expected to fund the 10% potential share buyback from dissenting shareholders, I think it's also premature to look at the 10% as potential dissenting shareholders to the quantum. Having said that, we will look at the combination, right, of internal generated funds or a debt to fund the potential share buyback. But again, it's still very premature. We're still very far away from obtaining the OJK approval, the Minister of Communication and Digital Affairs approval, and then coming to the extraordinary general meeting of shareholders. So for the second question you've asked is with regards to the CEO of XL Smart, will be coming from which party? I'll pass it over to Vivek to answer that question. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Feiruz. The CEO of the merged company will come from Axiata.
Thank you. Open the line now for Kavi Ananta to have follow-up question. Please go ahead, Kavi.
Okay. So maybe for the next question, given that the government intends to roll out the 5G spectrum, will you participate in this auction? And do you have update when this new auction will take place?
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Given that the government plans to roll out the 5G spectrum, will you participate in this auction? And do you have update when this new auction will take place?
So on the spectrum, actually there is no firm timeline for the 3G spectrum, be it for the 2.6, for 5G spectrum, be it for 2.6 nor the 3.5. But if there are 5G spectrum auction, the MergeCo will actually participate for the spectrum auction.
Okay.
Thank you, Budian. Thank you, Kafi. Any follow-up question from your side? Okay, if not, we can continue. All right, thank you. Next question comes from Husaini Staifi from Maybank. Just one question: is the synergy target of 300-400 million is a per year target? Timeline is 5 years. Please clarify. To pass this question to Pak Ferus to advise on the synergy target.
Yeah, the question, thank you, Husaini, for the question. If I understand the question correctly, is the synergy target of 300-400 per year target. What we said is an annual run rate of pre-tax synergies. Thank you.
I'd like to open the line for Husaini to have follow-up question. Husaini, please.
Yes, hi. Congratulations on the deal. Just a couple of questions from me. Means on this synergy target of 300 to 400 million, is this assuming that the MergeCo will be able to retain whole spectrum? And in a case you have to return some spectrum, will this synergy target change? That's question number one. The second question is on your earlier comment on the industry growth profile, and you expect the ARPUs to improve. So just wanted to understand what is your view on the industry growth going forward post consolidation.
I think the second question, we'll start with the second question. The second question was with regards to how do you foresee the industry structure, right? From an industry growth and ARPU. If I understand the question correctly, Husaini?
Yes.
Okay, maybe I'll hand over to David to answer the question.
So I think as Vivek mentioned before, and we have said in the statement, right, a three-player industry is for sure better than a four-player industry. So apart from that, you know that we have been doing big efforts in order to try to go in the correct direction in the pricing, in the yield, etc. So I think this will push that direction even further. Again, I think this should be well taken by the rest of the players in the industry, and hopefully the market will behave in a more rational way than it did in the last few years.
Thank you. Thank you, Pak David. Okay, let's move on to the next question then. Okay, the next question comes from the line of Nasrullah Sulaiman from DBS. Given the Axiata and Sinarmas will each hold 34.8% ownership in the merged entity, how will potential disagreements between the two major shareholders be addressed, particularly in case when strategic priorities such as capital expenditure allocation or pricing strategies may diverge? Is there a shareholder agreement in place to address potential deadlocks in decision making? I would like to pass this question to Vivek to help to answer.
Yeah, I mean, I think there in the shareholder agreements, there are mechanisms or reserve matters which are there. Essentially, things like business plan, etc., would be decided by the shareholders. So those reserve matters are there. But I don't think the intention would be for shareholders to get into the normal operations of the company. That would be done by the BOD in consent or consultation with the BOC of the company. So things like pricing strategy, for example, would be pretty much driven by the management on what they think is right, subject to the consents or decisions made by the Board of Commissioners. Yeah, there are necessary deadlock mechanism which are there on matters of reserve matters as well as if there are material defaults, which are not very uncommon. Those deadlock mechanism in place would be quite similar to any shareholder agreement.
Thank you, Pak Vivek. Like to open the line now for Nasrullah. If Nasrullah, you have any follow-up question, please.
No, I think. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to the next question from Theodorus Melvin from Stockbit. Double check about the overlapping sites around 6,000 or 20 to 30% of the total sites. Yeah, basically we have just now the total sites is around 68,000 as already mentioned. So yeah, that's around 30%. That's around that figure. Just anything to add maybe from Pak Vivek? All right. Let's move on. Melvin, do you have any follow-up question? Melvin, Theodorus Melvin. Go ahead, Melvin.
Okay, just to follow up, the total is 68,000 and the overlapping is around 20 to 30.
So what we mentioned was that there are total 67,000 sites, and potential would be around 20 to 30% sites would be decommissioned, which would be overlapping sites. Some of them would be redeployed in newer growth opportunities, and some of them would be as synergies coming into the overall synergy numbers.
Okay.
No, 6,000 is not right. So
Yeah.
you're looking at 20 to 30%
So
of
it's-
67,000.
Yeah, what we've guided is thank you for Pak Vivek for adding, right? It's 20 to 30%. I think you can also look at the numbers, right, from what has been disclosed by EXCL as well as SmartFriend. That gives you just an indication, right, of the potential decommissioning, which forms part of the synergies.
Okay. Thank you, management.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next question comes from Prem Jarasingham from CIMB. What are the primary equipment vendors for the two networks, and how do we deal with this over the first 3 to 5 years? And is there any chances for the accelerated depreciations? I'd like to pass this question to Pak Feiruz to answer.
Hi, Prem. Thank you for the question. With regards to the vendors, I think it's still very early stage, right? As I said, we've just signed a definitive agreement. As we look into integration, we will definitely look, right, at we look at the whole network architecture. Any chances for accelerated depreciation? I think, again, it's a bit premature to look into those numbers. Once we look at the integration exercise of the two entities, then we will definitely relook, right, at how it impacts the financials. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Feiruz. Allowed to open the line for Prem. Please do have any follow-up question.
Thanks for that, Pak Feiruz. Maybe just to tap Vivek's viewpoint, given the various transactions we've done at the Axiata Group across markets, how has the experience been with putting two vendors together in a network?
Yeah, but I think, Prem, you can also address this in the subsequent call, which is more an Axiata analyst call, but I can give you, currently there are 4 vendors between the two companies. So far experience has been, if you look at Celcom DG, there were effectively 3 vendors and which were consolidated into 2 vendors. I think the key consideration is always which is the grid you're going to use, right? So I think that would be the starting point. So experience of ours from consolidating vendors from 3 or 4 vendors into 2 has been good, and this does work because you are able to then redeploy some of the existing networks for further growth opportunities. And our view is that would be one of the important elements of synergy.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on to the next question from Angus McIntosh from Smart Karma. One question: how will the merger impact the EXCL convergence strategy? I would like to hand over to Pak Abhijit to help answer the question. Go ahead, Pak.
Yeah, thanks, Angus, for the question. As Vivek was earlier mentioning, this merger is predominantly focused on the mobile businesses. So the other streams go along as they have been. So net, it doesn't impact EXCL's convergence strategy. We are still proceeding to execute what we had strategized. All of you know that we transferred the retail customers over from LinkNet to EXCL at the end of September. Given that we have a very sizable business now, and in the longer term partnership with LinkNet, our strategy of deploying new home passes and driving convergence across our footprint still remains.
Thank you, Pak Abhijit. I'd like to open now the line for Angus to have any follow-up question.
No, that's very helpful. Could you possibly talk about sort of data centers and you know how important that is to the overall business of the merged entity?
No, so I think the decision on data centers has not been taken. Obviously, there is potential synergy because Sinar has some investments in data centers as a group. So we could leverage those data centers to provide, to provide services to the enterprise customers, right? But that's not something which has been discussed or factored in at this point in time. Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Angus. Thank you, Pak Vivek, for the answer. Let's move on to the next question. Next question comes from Wendy Chandra. Since EXCL will be the surviving entity, does it mean that friend tax credit will not be used? That's the first question. Second one, Axiata will sell 13.14% of the ownership in merged entity at the value of 400 million. Does it mean that the merged entity value at IDR 48.2 trillion versus current two entity market cap at 42 trillion? And the third question, there will be condition where konsiderasi penyertaan tertunda in the first notice, Sinarmas will pay another $75 million. Can you please clarify more on that? I would like to hand over this question to Pak Nick and on Vivek from Axiata.
Sure, I will take question number one is around the tax credit. You're right, since EXCL is the surviving entity, the tax credits at Smartfren will not be able to be ported over to the surviving entity. On selling, the second question is around the selling of the 13.14% of the merged co to from between Axiata and Sinarmas. There is an implied or imputed control premium in this, what would basically be considered as a secondary transaction. So as such, as per the pro forma, the current two entity market value of the market cap is as per what is actually stipulated or driven by the market numbers. So the secondary transaction is actually done at a slight premium to the market cap valuation. In item number 3, question number 3, which is konsiderasi penyertaan tertunda, this is the deferred 75 million. So this will be on the anniversary, 1 year anniversary post legal day 1 or completion of the merger. It will be subject to certain conditions, which from an Axiata point of view, we are of the view that these conditions are not onerous and will be able to be met. Additionally, as part of the consideration, there's also basically a mechanism whereby Sinarmas themselves can actually waive these conditions with regards to the consideration payment of the deferred consideration payment of 75 million. I hope that clarifies your 3 questions.
Thank you, Pak Nick. I think let's open the line now for Wendy Chandra to have follow-up questions. Wendy, go ahead. Do you have any question, Wendy? No. Okay, seems like Wendy is not able to talk. Let's just continue to the next question then. Yeah, there is a question from Jun Leong Chu about how will the EXCL Smart be managing in terms of the senior management and control. I think this one already answered, but I'd like to pass to Vivek if you have any more colors on this part.
No, so I think, as I said earlier, we will announce the senior management in the next 3 to 4 weeks. As far as control is concerned, I think it's, which I explained in terms of the governance structure, it will be jointly controlled by the 2 shareholders here. And then, of course, the board of directors or the senior management or CEO will have sufficient authorities here.
Pak Vivek, now I'd like to open the line for Jun Leong. Jun Leong, if you have any follow-up question to us.
Yeah, nothing from me. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next question comes from Jundianto Alim from Schroders, with decommissioning of sites. This has already been answered. I think this one will just already answered by the team just now. Let's move on to the next question. Also from Wendy Chandra, there is a question on since both Axiata will be having equal position in the merged entity, who will be controlling, and what is the dividend policy would be, since Sinarmas Group tend to have lower payout ratio in general. I think this one I would like to pass to Pak Vivek to help to answer.
Okay, the first one, I think, as we said, it's a joint control. So both of us will jointly control, and that also allows us to jointly appoint the BOC, BOD, etc. Right? So it's not one company controlling; it's a joint control. Dividend policy, I think we have to frame it, which is what will be discussed in this phase, and we should be able to give that to the analyst investors before the completion of the merger.
Jundianto, do you have any follow-up questions? Sorry, Wendy Chandra, do you have any follow-up questions? Okay. All right, if not, then we can move on to the next question from UNESCO. This is a question about the mobile ARPU difference between the XL and Smartfren. What is the ARPU gap currently in the short term, and whether should we see any dilution in terms of the blended ARPU? This question I would like to invite Pak David to advise on this.
Yeah, so I think currently I'm not 100% sure about the Smartfren ARPU, but I know that it's lower than ours with their 36 million subscribers. Of course, in day one, I think we can expect that the ARPU will be a blended ARPU of both of the companies. So if XL Axiata is at a certain point and Smartfren is lower, you can expect that the blended ARPU will be a little bit lower or somehow lower than the current XL Axiata one. In any case, again, I mean, we have been talking about ARPU in many of our previous calls, you know that it's in our top priority to improve the ARPU, and that we have like quite a strong initiative via digitalization to keep growing the ARPU in EXCL Axiata, that I'm sure that it will also be applied in the new MergeCo.
Thank you, Pak David. Now I'd like to open the line for UNESCO if you have any follow-up question.
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now let's move on to the question from Lee Tawe from Morgan Stanley. The question about 13.1% to be acquired for US 400 million and 75 million. Is that for equity value or enterprise value? This one, I would like to invite Pak Nick to advise on this question. Pak Nick, go ahead, please.
Yes, that will be at equity value.
Thank you, Pak. Tawe, do you have any questions? We would like to open the line for you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thanks so much and congrats on the merger. Just one follow-up. Are you able to share what's the implied valuation multiple for this transaction on the EV/EBITDA?
Can you repeat the question again? Sorry.
What would be the implied EV/EBITDA multiple for this transaction?
Okay, this one would like to pass to Vivek and Nick to help advise.
Okay, the EV/EBITDA is approximately about 5.3, which is in line with the benchmarks.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Tawi. We have one final question from Etta from Maybank Sekuritas Indonesia. So this question is about the mixed network of TDD and FDD. Do you think it will provide challenges during the integration, and whether should you have the same to give some spectrum, and which one will you need to return to the government? I would like to invite to Ibu Dian to help answer this question. Ibu Dian, please.
Sorry. So for the network integration between TDD and FDD, yes, it is actually will create a certain complexity compared to if it is the same scheme, whether only TDD or VDD. But there are some technology and techniques actually for combining these two technology, which actually already addressed by the technical team. For the spectrum, as mentioned previously, currently the discussion and also negotiation with the government has not been started for the spectrum allocation, but we will actually put a case for retaining the whole spectrum, because with the whole spectrum to be in the new MergeCo actually will give the fair allocation for the three operators that currently exist in the market after the merger. So at this point, actually, we intend to keep the whole spectrum for the MergeCo to be operating on.
Thank you, Bu Dian. I'd like now to open the line for Etta, if you have any follow-up question to us.
No further question.
Okay, thank you. With that, we conclude today's conference call. We would like to thank everyone for your participation, and as always, do get back to us through Investor Relations should you need any further information. Thank you.